Hello, patriots, friends, Americans. Last night, the mainstream media and political elite held the Correspondents Dinner in Washington, D.C. Must be nice to attend black tie events and enjoy a good meal. This is while most Americans are busy foregoing a fine meal to pay the mortgage so they don't end up homeless living on the street with countless others. Makes me wonder how many Americans and patriots went hungry last night because of Barack Hussein Obama, aka Barry Soto's policies, while the mainstream prostitutes and elitists were enjoying their fine meals, after which they were driven home in limousines. Again, it makes me wonder how many Americans had their vehicles repossessed due to Barry Soto's policies, or yet alone could not afford the fuel for the vehicles because of the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. The arrogance and poor taste of the jokes at this event once again displayed the extreme disconnect of the Washington elite. All of the sycophants living in the cesspool we know as Washington, D.C., who were all there clamoring for political gain through association with the imposter-in-chief. I particularly found the jokes involving SEAL Team 6 appalling, considering that most on the raid for Osama bin Laden lost their lives shortly thereafter in the helicopter crash. I wonder how the family members of the deceased heroes feel about that. Watching these pretentious, self-absorbed beings makes me physically ill. These are the people, the elected politicians that we entrusted with our well-being, and the members of the mainstream media whom we expect to provide us with factual news and reporting. Yet you see the cohorting together, and as they say in Washington, washing each other's backs. I guess protecting each other against the truth and the American people. Patriots, friends, Americans, this must stop. Do not obey. Do not comply. Do not surrender. Do not believe anything that is said by the politicians or written by the news media. Washington, D.C. is for Washington, D.C. The only thing they are working on is how to enslave the American people. Every day we get reports and information leaks of how they plan to make us subjects to the global bankers and the global elitists. We already know that our election process is corrupt and controlled by the members of the Bilderberg Group and Council on Foreign Relations. They should just stick to camping at the Bohemian Grove and having homosexual sex. I will render my vote this final time for Ron Paul, who has openly been cheated out of delegates. He is the only one that can change the course we are on. If he does not get elected, then I feel the following votes in elections will be decided with bullets instead of ballots. Fellow Americans, believe me when I tell you this. This is no irrational conspiracy theory, but a progressive, evaluated result based on prior and recently occurring events. The government is preparing for a coup d'etat on the American people and aligning all of its players and game pieces to finalize and consolidate power and control. The government will do what it can to disarm the American people in an attempt to nullify the Second Amendment, even to the extent where they deliberately let American Border Patrol agents get killed to force their Marxist liberal agenda down our throats. Now, the Personal Enforcement Agency for the Federal Reserve, the IRS, is attempting to pass legislation where if you are suspected, merely suspected of owing them their extortion money, they will take your passport, which is basically stripping you of your citizenship. They will also attempt to restrict you having access to purchasing or owning firearms. I am sure you can see a pattern here. The beauty of the Second Amendment is that it will not be needed until they try to take it. I, for one, will not surrender or concede anything, weapons, my dignity, or my soul to this government. What will you do when the time comes? Think about it now, because the time will come. Open your eyes, America. We're being spied on electronically, visually, with cameras at every intersection. We are being spied on through the consumer electronics we buy. This was recently admitted by the CIA chief Petraeus, or is it Betrayus? Obviously, the CIA chief forgot his oath or is such a cockroach and lacking integrity that it does not matter to him. At this point, we can only hope that his cancer progresses and removes him from humanity. Have you ever wondered why the last few generations seem so different from your grandparent generation and era? This is because they were not oversensitized through the politically correct onslaught pacified through medications and fluoride in the water. Trust me, I know how this sounds, and I was also a skeptic, till I did the research. I woke from my mind-numbing government-induced coma. Our government, in conspiracy with the United Nations and global elitists, have orchestrated a plan for global dominance. And they knew, just like Admiral Yamamoto, that America will not be taken by force. So they decided on dumbing down and eugenics. Guess this makes it easier policy to control people. What this does is it made us lazy by prescribing medications that kill us don't work. And on your own, go verify this. Go to the emergency room or go to the hospital for a minor complaint and see the types of medications that they'll prescribe to you. The government wants to control every aspect of your life and regulate and control who you are, what you do, how you think, and how you perceive the world around you. If this bothers you and you want change, then you are a patriot. If you could care less, you are already a slave to the New World Order and deserve what you get. My fellow Americans and patriots, I sincerely hope that the second shot heard around the world never comes. But in my opinion, when it does, we do not stop and should not stop until every last progressive socialist, regardless of race, sex, or creed, is hung or driven into the ocean on either coast and the UN is burned to the ground. This includes the green idiots that perpetrated the fraud against it, not just the peoples of America, but also against humanity. When the wrongs are pressed because it is believed they will be born, resistance becomes morality. Are those wrongs being born?